Hey everybody, so we are going to talk today about autism. Today happens to be my 15-year-old's birthday. He was, came out like when I got pregnant, he was due on Halloween and I just knew I was going to have a goblin. And the doctor kept saying, hey, don't get your hopes up. You're probably not going to have him on that due date. And then I did, and he has been, it's been an interesting ride ever since that child came into the world. So I'm Corinne from fitandfat.com. You can go and I lost 100 pounds. So this video is for several reasons. When I lost my weight, I started blogging and I wanted to help other women lose their weight. And so that was, I lost my weight 12 years ago, and then 10 years ago I started blogging. And so when I started, I never really, Logan was basically 3 years old when I started blogging, 3, maybe 4, that kind of time. It never dawned on me that one day he would read my blogs. You know, I know intellectually I probably should have guessed that one day he would use a computer, but I just, I didn't think about it. My blog was really, it was mine. And I wanted it. Honestly, I didn't have that many people that read it. So, it was just like, there was a few people that I'd met online that were reading it, and that was about it. Well, so when he was born, let me just tell you why I'm even doing this podcast. So he found the blog and read some of the old ones of when he was diagnosed and stuff. And so I'm going to tell you that entire story. We were driving to school one day, and we just recently started talking about him having autism. He goes to a special school where it's in a great school. Any kid would be lucky to go there. It freaking looks like Hogwarts. But he started going there because he needed smaller classrooms. Like the classrooms are anywhere from 8 and below kids. And he was telling me he found the blog and asked me, did I still feel the same way today about autism? He said, when I read it, Mama, it just really sounds like it's a bad thing. And I said, well, baby, when I first started blogging and talking about autism, I was like, I didn't know the things I know now. I was like, it was very scary back then. I said, we didn't have the information and the resources and all the stuff like we do now. I've become a life coach since then. I've always been a weight coach. Just several things have changed, and just the world treats autism different now. There's more hope for us. And when we were diagnosed, it was so scary. It was almost like they were just basically saying you've lost your child, but they're breathing. So I just told him, I said, everything's changed. And I said, I don't feel the same way. And he said, well, I would appreciate it if you would write some blogs. First of all, he's like, I didn't realize they were older ones. And so I was like, well, maybe I need to go back and date those. I'm not sure if there's dates on them. And then he said, I would just appreciate it if you would share with people how awesome it is. Because I'm proud of it. He's like, it makes me different. And he started giving me a list of reasons why he's got kids in his class that are, a little on the rambunctious side. They're all into potty humor and just, you name it, they're into it. They're, very typical kids for that age, and he is not very typical for that age. And he just, hangs his head high that he is not into, just stuff, right? Like sex and crap like that. So anyway, I was like, sure. So I don't write my blog as much anymore. I just use it to share the podcast and stuff. So I thought today would be a great day to talk about it. And I might cry. I don't know. Most of the time, I'm so good with everything that I usually can talk about it without crying. But there was a few parts where I was thinking about this before, like what would I want to share and whatnot. I was like, I'm going to cry. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a big surprise for all of us. So he was diagnosed at 5 when he was little. I always knew something wasn't like materializing correctly. He was really good at being able to identify presidents and stuff, but when it came to being able to tell me what he wanted to eat, he couldn't do it. He wasn't really good at making decisions. There was just all kinds of just little things that I thought, this is just different. You know, something's not right. Well, he was never sick. I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to lose weight was I did not want to pass on obesity to my child. So, you know, I'd always been overweight since I was like 8 or 9 years old. And when I lost the 100 pounds, one of my main motivators was to change our family tree. So I fed him like healthy as shit. Breastfed that thing for like a year. You know, like I was all in with this kid. And so he never went to the doctor. So every time we would go for a well baby, he hadn't been in a year. And she would just say, no, I think everything's fine. You know, it's, you know, there's not that big, it's, you know, just you're worried. Well, when he was turning 5, I grabbed my mother, and my mother was like, I'm going with you. And so I just begged and pleaded and cried. And my mom was like, look, we just notice things. We just think something's going on. So she said, you can go to Vanderbilt and get tested. And she, you know, referred me. And she's like, just for your peace of mind. So we went, and my husband went for my peace of mind. It was like I knew what was going to happen, and nobody but my mom knew what was going to happen. Well, of course, they diagnosed us that day, and my husband falls apart that night. Just never seen, I usually cry during this part. Never seen him like that. And it was scary. And I knew I had to hold it together. You know, I just had to hold it together for all of us. And he was calling his mom and like dropping a bomb on her on the telephone. And he literally, I will never forget this. And you gotta remember, this is 10 years ago. We're sitting on the couch, and he's in one place and I'm in another, and he's online, and he looks up at me and he says, I just booked us a trip for in the morning. We're flying out to New Jersey. There's this conference that only happens once a year, and it's the premier one, and it starts in the morning. We have to be there. I was like, what? I was like, we don't have a babysitter. He's like, well, we're just going to call my mother right now. And she's like 3 hours away. And I am just like, oh my God, he's done flipped out. Like, you're going to have to like buck up, sister. You cannot be falling apart right now because Crazy Town has hit, right? So he calls I call and talk to his stepfather and said, look, y'all don't even know that we've done this today, but let me give you the gist and tell you what's going on. And he said, give me 5 minutes and call back. And so he broke it to Nana. And then, of course, Chris is crying. She's crying. Everybody's crying. And I'm just sitting there going, wow. I mean, I think I had quit crying at that point because I didn't even know what to do. So we went, and it was a 3-day conference. And right before this, so I'd lost all this weight, right? I had signed up to do a figure competition. And I had just literally, the day before we got diagnosed, gotten my menu that I was supposed to start following to do this figure competition, full of tilapia and green beans and rice, like just crazy shit, right? We go, and I said, all I ask is you book a hotel that has a kitchen and a fridge. Like, I don't care where we stay, but let me at least go to the grocery store. Because I knew in my mind, if there was one thing I was going to control through all this, it was going to be my mouth. Like, I had to get my shit straight on that from the get-go. So, because I knew in my heart that if I didn't have a thought that I had to be in control of that I was going to eat my way back up the scale. It was hard. I mean, it just was hard. And so we go, we land, we go straight to the grocery store, and I've got this list of foods that I never eat before. We go buy all this shit. We go to this conference. They're talking about how everybody ends in divorce, like 80% of the couples end in divorce. It was like the first morning. And it's just like scary, and you're going to have to change your kid's diet. You got to go gluten-free. There wasn't even a gluten-free aisle at Whole Foods yet. There was a gluten-free shelf. And everything was like $40. You know, it was just crazy. And I remember the third night, we were so emotionally wore out. I finally just said, they told me once a week I get to eat whatever I want. Let's get pizza. And so I remember us laying in bed, eating pizza and crying. Just like, what has happened to us? We come back home. I just got on the phone, started calling places and trying to figure out what am I supposed to do, and, looking for help and everything. And at that point, I just went back to the same thought that I always have gone back to when I started losing my weight. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm figuring it out. And we did. And he's a great kid. I mean, he really is. The people that are if you're one of my tribe members and you hear me post about him and stuff, and some of my coaches, a lot of y'all hear my personal stories about him, you understand that he is, he's so joyous. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to straighten my shit up before he gets home. This is his birthday. He's going to walk in the door like, what's wrong? But he is the kindest soul. He understands humanity like no one I know. I mean, of course I make him listen to all the thought work shit that I teach when it comes to life coaching and whatnot. We listen to podcasts. And one of the things I've always said that was such a blessing for me through all of this was that I remember thinking, I need to teach him how to think. Like, he doesn't understand why people behave the way they do. And he doesn't understand like feelings. I remember one time crying with his ABA therapist that I am one of the most, like, when it comes to emotion, I feel them all. And I'm loud and I'm, social and all this stuff. And I was like, how do I have a child that I can't teach how to be this way? And she said, you can. You're going to have to be patient. She said, but there's nothing wrong with him. He just needs to learn, and you have to teach him. And I just remember thinking, I have to figure this out. And I ended up becoming a life coach and learning how to teach people how to think about what they think. And that's what he needed. Someone to show him how his thoughts work. And that, no, they don't work like everybody else, but that's okay. And because of that, he has such a unique view on life. He just sees the good in people. He thinks that, he goes optimistic first. He is so compassionate when it comes to other people. He has kids in his class that are not nice to him. There is one little girl whose parents are going through a divorce. And he told, this was him the other day. He comes home, tell me about Lauren. And, well, I hate to say her name, but I won't say her last name. I don't know it. So, anyway, her parents are going through a divorce. She's not nice to him. Every day she says, some pretty terrible things to him sometimes. And he said, Mama, I've been thinking about it. I was going to not hang around Lauren anymore because she's not nice. But I just know that right now she's doing the best she can. When she's probably not nice to me, it's probably because things are so confusing at her house. And I was like, I wish I could get my 40-year-old grown-ass women sometime to think about stuff like that. That they are just doing the best they can. Even when they're being terrible to you. They probably have a reason if they can't be kind and considerate. And I was just like, baby, that's what you should do. It's because you have figured out a way to make, it's not about Lauren. You have figured out a way to make it okay in your brain that she gets to be who she is right now, and you still totally believe in who you are. That her words are just a reflection of her, not a reflection on you. And I just, I have some of the best conversations with him, and now he's also, let me just say, he's so sweet and he's so cute, but he can be immature. He's, he still has he still loves Thomas. He's 15. He could watch Thomas at the drop of a hat. Just thinks in fact, he's always emailing YouTube and reporting people who make Thomas videos that disparage Thomas because he's like, some little kid could find that, and that's just not right. And the other day we had a conversation. I just thought this was the best thing. And I know I'm just rambling, but he said, I asked him, I said, baby, what would you do if somebody offered you drugs? I don't remember how we got on the topic of drugs. And he said, well, I would call the police. They need to learn their lesson. And I said, well, you could just tell mama and daddy first, and then we could, make sure that they got help. And he's like, are you sure I shouldn't just call the police first? I was like, well, let's just back the truck up. So anyway, he's just funny. He's a great kid. What I've learned though, and the reason why I wanted to share this story with you and how it relates, because y'all, I'm here for weight loss. I mean, that's why y'all follow me, because you want to learn how to lose weight. You want to learn how to believe in yourself. You want to learn how to understand that you can lose weight, one, in a way that you can live the rest of your life, and two, that you don't have to worry that it's going to come back. I have been through so much stuff since I've lost my weight. And the thing that autism taught me the most was that it is just a matter of staying true to nothing is ever like a catastrophe. When you allow your brain to think, this is a problem I got to solve, and you just keep focused on, this is just a problem to solve. Like, I've got to show up and do my best today. You know, for so long when he first was diagnosed, all I could do was do the best I could with my food and hold it together for all of us. There were times when, you know, I wanted to eat. I still, like, there are times when I want to storm eat and all that kind of stuff too, guys. But it's like, it's really about keeping your focus on today. I was actually coaching one of our other tribe members whose daughter, she's got autism, and she turned 18 this last weekend. It's so easy with weight or with your kids, I don't care if they're on the spectrum or not, to get worried about what's going to happen to them. That everything that's happening today is such a reflection on where they're going to be in 10, 15, 20 years or even more. And most of the time what happens is when we start getting so maniacally focused on that part of it, we're missing out on anything that we can impact today. One of the things I have had my tribe members recently do is really, we've been doing this 4-circle exercise where you think about, it's allowing your brain to make a connection to today actually does impact the future. But most of us can't tie that together, especially when it comes to like weight. You know, like you think about what do you want to be for the rest of your life? And then you break that down into, so over the next year, what needs to happen for that? And then what needs to happen this month? And then you go to your last circle every day and you look at your circle and you think, what are the things that need to happen today that has that impact? Most of us never really put value on the small things that we're doing today. We always go immediately to, it's not enough. You know, and we do that with our weight, but it's so easy to do when your kid has autism, ADHD, failing in school, doing drugs, starting to drink, all of those things. When you think about your kids, it's like you start thinking about, but there is little things to do today. And I need to stay really focused on that, because if I'm not focused on today, tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow just does get worse and stuff. It only gets worse because you don't really appreciate what you can do in this moment. Get so focused on those faraway moments. So, I mean, I wanted to just share it because, like, I think that a lot of people, I know a lot of people follow me because their kids are also on the spectrum and stuff. We have been blessed to be able to do for Logan all we want. I tell people all the time, you know, like, especially when it comes to weight loss and then when it comes to your kids, you know, I talk to people all the time about that compelling reason, like why you do things. When you really know what's driving you and what's important, it's so much easier to show up when you don't feel like it. It's so much easier to make choices that you don't want to make. It's so much easier to do things that feel like ass in the moment, but have a long-term payoff. There were I remember so many times not wanting to take him to therapy because it was an hour away. And we were going to be stuck in traffic for 2 hours there, on there and back. And most of the time he would have a fit in the back of the car. And it would just seem like it would be so much easier to not go to that 45-minute therapy session, to like skip all that shit. But every time it was worth it. When I look at him today, I know all of it was worth it. Every bit of it. And it's the same thing with your diet. Sometimes when you're ordering a salad for the 100th time when you go out to eat, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. It seems like this one time I miss won't matter. And that's when you have to gut check yourself and say, you know, these small steps every day, they absolutely matter. Don't let your brain tell you bullshit that doesn't matter, that it's okay and it doesn't. It's just bullshit. It's what your brain wants you to do. It just wants you to hit that easy button. We can't hit the easy button with our kids. We cannot hit the easy button with our weight loss. Anything, if you're growing a business, you cannot hit the easy button. You have to show up all the time. And you know, the first part of his life, I showed up when I didn't feel like it. I don't think he felt like it either a lot, to be honest. But he's always persevered. I taught him from a young age to just keep working. Just keep working. It's worth it. So anyway, that's our autism story. I love that kid. I hope he ends up listening to this one day. His mom and daddy were very scared in the early days. We're not anymore. You know, I think about him now. And I always say, I have no clue what's going to happen with him. I don't. One, he changes what he wants to do, like every day, like he changes his clothes, because he loves to change clothes too. But I don't even try to like predict it anymore. I just think, you know, he's going to be and develop into the person he's going to be. Today, we just need to enjoy it. We need to enjoy it. We need to make the most out of today. We have to learn how to, like, you know, we have to learn our lessons today, do our work today, all of that. And that ends up helping. So let me see if anybody had any questions. Guys, you can ask questions about anything. It doesn't have to be about this topic if you have any weight loss questions. Yeah, thank you for telling me I look smoking hot. So I got a haircut. A lot of you are like noticing I got my haircut. I was at the gym on, I guess it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. I went and worked out. And I left, and my hair salon is literally 3 doors down. And I'd been wanting to cut the swoop part off because I don't like when I'm doing videos for my tribe that I'm always playing with it. And I just walked in and said, hey, you don't happen to have an opening right? My normal stylist, she owns the place. I said, you don't happen to have an opening right now, do you? She said, yeah, I haven't even gotten started for the day. And I was like, I just want to get it cut. I know I'm coming back Wednesday for a color, but I just want to get it cut right now. And so we cut it. That's how much forethought I put into it. So cool that he can verbalize himself and feel safe to tell you his feelings. Yeah, Jerry, I mean, I think it's one of those things that we've always worked on. When he was younger, he did not know how. It's taken us a long time to teach him all that, but I tell you, we just kept plugging away. You know, like one of his difficulties, like organization is hard for him. He's very, he's very focused on it, but it's hard. Like, it doesn't make sense to him where things should go, just visually. You know, I mean, you can just, like, even when he puts the silverware and stuff away, it's like, he has to really think. And then also just, like, making decisions. Like, when he is, like, presented with a problem, he thinks about all the solutions. And honestly, I just think that's, like, I coach women on this all the time. You know, like, I tell them to do something, and then they think of all the reasons why it won't work. And it's kind of like the same with Logan, and it's learning how to shut that shit down and just staying really focused on what it is that we're working on. I remind him, I'll ask him, you know, what do you want for dinner? He'll tell me the 10 things he doesn't want first. I'm like, okay, I want you to listen to my question, though. I ask you to tell me what you do want. So let's focus on what we do want. And then he gets stuck. It's easier for him to, like, start removing the things he doesn't want first and then try to figure out what he does want. So a lot of times, this even happens with our girls. Like, I will ask, when we do live coaching calls, I will say, like, well, tell me what you do want to think. Well, I don't want to blah, 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 and I don't want to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but God, if you could just choose, what would it be? And so many of us suffer from that. Like, we're so used to things not working right, and we're so used to looking for the negative that when somebody says, hey, you get to pick, it's like, you can't do it. And it's like, it takes a little bit to get the brain working. My nephew has autism and Asperger's and is his senior year of college. Oh, that's awesome, Angie. Getting my kids ready for trick or treat, but we'll look forward to watching this later. Hey, Laura, I hope they have a good time. It's so funny. So Logan is a Halloween baby, hates trick or treating. We're going out to dinner tonight. He's like, can we just go out to dinner? I don't even like when that doorbell rings. He's like, it's just so startling. I was like, yeah, we can go out to dinner. Yeah, You have to listen to your spirit. Getting my SBD son into OT was the best thing that could have happened. It's a journey that ebbs and flows. I'm more compassionate now. I think it teaches you so much compassion. God, like some of the stuff that I was telling somebody the other day, some of the things that we had to do with Logan over the years are not easy. You know, like, God, being consistent. Like, because I tell people all the time, like, you need to be consistent with your kid. I'm like, we had to be consistent because, like, good Lord, like, it would get magnified if it wasn't, right? Like 1,000 times. So we would stay with consistency, stay with, if we were going to discipline one way, this is how we had to do it. If we were going to talk about something, this is how we had to do it and stuff. So it's like, it really teaches you how to get into a routine and how to be consistent and build that backbone. Let's see. A lot of you wishing the little Logie happy birthday. I don't think y'all actually have any questions, which is probably cool. Y'all have a lot of really awesome things to say, though. I'm just skimming through them because we put these on Facebook. So if you don't know, we put all of these lives on Facebook, on podcast for Saturday episodes. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, you can, and then you'll also get this on download on Saturdays in case you ever miss me live. What type of earbuds are you wearing when you do the lives? And do they have a mic in them? Random question. These are the Apple earbuds, I think. You can order them from Apple. They do. You can, like, I talk on the phone, I listen to music and stuff. They're just super convenient. They charge in a little container. I love them. In fact, Kathleen just got some. Katie, what activity do you do to distract yourself from emotional eating during the difficult times? I also have a kiddo with autism and struggling with fog eating during stressful times. Katie, I don't distract myself. That's one of the things that I try to teach our tribe members is not to go to the distraction. But when you are wanting to emotionally eat, listening for what's going on. If you distract yourself, you don't know why you want to emotionally eat. Right? So what I want people to do is I want you to dial into before you do it, start asking yourself, what's going on right now that's driving me to eat? Most of the time, and here's what I want you to really understand, Katie. So I don't know if you're one of my girls or not. If you're one of the girls, you'll know the model. But if not, I'll kind of explain it to you in a watered down version. Your kid, whatever it is that they're doing in the moment, is a fact. You have a thought about that. Most of us, what happens is we think, kid does this, I do this. There's two levels in between. Our kid, like, you know, when Logan used to throw, he would bite or whatever. Yeah, I would want to emotionally eat, but what would drive the emotional eating would be what I was thinking about him and his behavior and what I was making that mean about me. And then I would feel terrible. It would feel overwhelming. It would feel hard, those kind of things. So like for me, I know that when Logan would have really uncontrollable fits, I would think he's never going to get better. It's always going to be like this. I'm going to be trapped. Those were a lot. I mean, I have some real honest feelings about what went on back in the day. Like I remember thinking all kinds of stuff that made me feel pretty terrible as a mother. And I would choose those feelings. Guys, we always choose how we think. But I would sit and think about, you know, I'm trapped. My life is over. You know, like he would do things and I would have thoughts about him like, you know, I never wanted this for him and blah, blah, blah. And then there was like this other layer underneath that was all my own baggage that I had to work through, that I had to come to terms with of like, what I was making this mean and understanding like this is the core root of the problem and this is what we have to solve. You know, my life is over. If you're sitting around all the time with the belief that every time your kid does something that is, you know, like a fit or whatever, if your core belief is my life's over, yeah, we want to eat because we're going to need relief. You are going to want that relief. You're going to want that food. And distracting yourself doesn't solve the belief. It just like, because what happens is they'll do it at a McDonald's and you don't have anywhere to go and distract yourself. You ain't got a room to run off to or whatever it is that you want to do. So it's the the less, or what do they call it? The road less traveled. It is the harder road, but it's really understanding what you're thinking about the situation and stuff, and then learning how to change that. Giving yourself some proof of other things to think about, how you're going to do those kind of things. Oh my Lord, if you're one of my tribe members, I just got a hot Slack message. Woo! That private podcast going into tests the next day or so. Means you guys are getting soon. I've been dangling like a carrot in front of Chris Crabtree's face for ever late. Please, can we get this done? Woo! Okay. Let's see. Are you starting to think about college or after high school? Yeah, Michelle, we do think about it. I mean, we think of it just like every parent. I think what we talked to Logan about is, so he's going to go to high school, and his high school actually has 100% rate of getting kids into college. And I talk to him all the time about, I want you to go to school and I want you to like pursue anything you want. But what we're doing right now is we are teaching him to be interested in things that are, one day might be, for a while he just wanted to work at a Trader Joe's, and I'm all fine with working at a Trader Joe's, but I was like, don't you want to do something else? Like where, you don't have to go to college to work at Trader Joe's, but you could work at Trader Joe's while you're in college, right? So we've been just talking to him about like planting the early seeds of why he might want to go to college, whether he uses that education ever again or not, different kinds of careers that would, where it would pay off and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, we're thinking about it and we're starting to talk about it. So our small steps in today are about just making it seem appealing right now. Understanding that, he may live at home, I want him to live at home through it. And understanding that would be great for him to be able to learn some independence, because it'd be different than his school now. So anyway, let's see. What kind of diet you on? We do, Patty, if you want to find out what I do, if you'll go over to pnp411.com, go up to free course and download that. There's 4 videos and a workbook. It is what I give to everybody who asks about like how I eat and stuff. I don't eat a specific diet. So like I'm not keto, I'm not low carb, I'm not Weight Watchers, I'm not any of that stuff. What I teach people how to do is commit to eating healthy, and then like how do you plan that and how do you do that in small steps? Because I lost my weight, small steps. I started with a 15-minute walk. I didn't even cut out ice cream. Yeah, I wasn't ready. But if you go over there, my about story, there you can read about my about story. You can also get the free course, and that will help you. Hey, Diana. We have an adult daughter who is an alcoholic in denial, and your statement of what do you want to think about just really helped me. I want to think she is doing the best she can, and that is actually true. Yeah, Diana, I think we talked about this in the tribe the other day too, right? I'm pretty sure that we were all talking about this. But basically, it's the idea of so many of us do not understand. In fact, if Diana, you might want to watch the video from last night. We had a tribe member who has an unruly 12-year-old. And we did a lot of like coaching and stuff on compassion about what do you want to think when he's acting that way? Because that 12-year-old's going to be the 12-year-old and he's going to be doing this and that and the other. And, coming at it from a place of love, because love don't always mean condone. Like I was talking about when Logan would throw fits and stuff, there were times when I had to hold him down on the floor to keep him safe. But I did that from love, not from frustration or anger or sadness and hopelessness and stuff. I knew that I had to turn on the feeling of I have to do the best thing I can for him right now. This is a mommy steps up moment. Because mommy wanted to do other things, but I wanted to put his best interest in mind. And so a lot of times, Diane, I think like when you're talking about, the adult alcoholic and stuff, it's like, she's drinking. She's an alcoholic right now. How do you want to think about her? When you talk to her, do you want to come at it from disappointment? She should be doing better. How could she? Or do you want to come at it like, this is my daughter. No matter what she does, I'm always going to love her. I don't have to love what she does. I don't have to condone what she does. I can set boundaries. I can do all kinds of stuff. But I always do it because I love her so much, not because I'm so disappointed in her. And I think that's a key lesson for most people to learn. It's not always easy. Good for you. I was fat before my son was diagnosed. Karen, that doesn't have anything to do with it, you know? Here's the way I always look at it. He can be your reason now to change it all, right? You don't need to have lost the weight first for it to have been easier. You just need a compelling reason to not eat when you're not hungry. When your body's physically hungry, eat. When your body's not physically hungry, don't eat. And Karen, if you haven't done my free course, I'm not sure if you're one of our members or I'm not sure where you're at on this. If you haven't done the free course, do that. Listen to the podcast. You will learn real quick that losing weight is so much easier than what they put out there. Most of us just aren't practicing the basics, which is like eat when we're hungry, stop when we're satisfied. And I don't mean starving hungry. Just when you first start. For a lot of you who emotionally eat, that's super helpful because you just get into these habits of eating, and just getting those cleaned up first will have you lose a lot of weight. I can't tell you how many people take my free course and email me every stinking day. How many of you on here have lost weight on that free course? I mean, it is unbelievable. Like, I'm talking 20, 30, 40 pounds at this point off this free course. I've had this course out since January of this year, and people have just been like, girl, just use your free course. I've taken it 2 and 3 times. I just keep rolling on with it, you know. Keisha, my son has SPD. We are on a 6-month wait list to get him into a developmental pediatrics group. I am so depressed I can barely function. I stress eat and hate myself for it. Keisha, I would just try that free course. Just get to where you get some structure for you. This is hard for a lot of people to understand, but and I have suffered from depression. So if you want to go back, if you want to go to my podcast and listen to my depression episode, I've had that too. And it was a crybaby one. But one of the things that you have to think about is we're on a 6-month waiting list. Making that a problem is only hurting you in the relationship you have with your son. That's not going to change. The only thing that can change is how you're going to choose to think about that and how you choose to think about today. That 6-month waiting list is not causing the depression. It's what you make it mean that it's going to be a while before you can get him professional help. But if you can turn your thoughts into, you know what, it may be a little bit before I get him professional help, but I'm going to do all I can right now. I'm putting my brain to work on what can I be doing right now. That will help you feel a little bit more in control and less helpless. Hey, Dana. Mr. Crabtree is going to have some fave people calling him King Crabtree when that baby goes live. I know, and he's also I swear to God, he's been like popping slack since the whole time, so I'm getting all these things. I'm like, he's about to get what I call my pimp in hand. I swear to God, he has like 4,000 notes in Slack. He knows I'm live too, which is funny. Sibyllus. I stress eat because of my health issues. Was just diagnosed with hyperadrenic POTS. But I'm starting to take baby steps, like you said, instead of trying to do everything at once. Yeah, one of the big things what you can recognize in your statement is you have in here, I stress eat because of my health issues. You stress eat is way down here. You think something about your health issues, like it's hopeless, it's too hard, this is unfair, this makes it so much harder on me. And then that gives you feelings that drive stress eating. You're blaming your eating on the health issues. The health issues are not causing the eating. The way you think about your health issues are totally causing why you eat. So figure out what it is that you keep telling yourself about the health issues and figure out what you need to start telling yourself. Like, for a lot of people that stress eat due to a circumstance, like whether it's the waiting list, it's the autism, it is the health issues, whatever it is. Put in there, I stress eat because I choose to. It has nothing to do with this. I'm open to believing that one day I will think something different about my health issues. Today, I'm blaming my health issues on my stress eating. When we start getting control over how we think about our circumstances, guys, we start getting control over our mouth. It's so much easier to lose weight long term when you really start taking responsibility for how you think and you drop the blame game on everything that goes on around you. Ooh, and Sandra lost 15 pounds on the free course, just saying. Norma says 3 pounds the first week with the free course. And Jill said, I did your free podcast and free course from June until she joined this month. Let's see. Christy, if you'll go over to pnp411.com, you'll be able to find out what how I lost my weight, do the free course. If you listen to my podcast, it will tell you everything you ever want to know about me, my colon, the way I eat, you know, my period. Like this week's podcast, guys, is a big fat rant on my period. I was like, we're podcasting, we're going to talk about periods this week. So following the macros is not something you do. No, Samantha, I don't. Macros don't do my body service. Macros don't know when I'm hungry. I do not believe in looking to an external source to solve an internal problem. You just eat when you are hungry and you don't stress about calories and carbs. Do not count calories. I do not cut or count carbs either. Even when I'm trying to build muscles. Hell, well, I got plenty of muscle. It's been working so far. I think that it's a big misconception about a lot of programs want to sell you macros. They want to sell you the carbs. They want to sell you all this stuff because then you have to buy a product or you have to buy an app or you have to buy all this other stuff. Now, I do have a membership site. I want to, let's not pretend like Corinne's not out making money in the diet industry. I am. But here's the thing. I give away a lot of free shit content. You could never, ever join my website and still learn how to lose weight by listening to your body. I got too many women that listen to me like a religion. They're losing all kinds of weight and hitting all kinds of goals. And they take complete advantage of everything that I put out there for nothing. I do 2 podcasts every single week. I do this live every single week. You know, just get on that train. But here's the thing. The core premise of what I teach is that internally is where the magic is. You have got to learn how to listen to your body, because who's going to be 80 and counting macros? And I don't want to hear no bullshit that when we're 80 years old, we ain't going to give a fuck about how we look. I tell Kathy Hartman all the time, she's the co-host of my podcast, when I am cold and dead and in that casket, you better have a hoochie top on me and my MAC makeup better be done right. And I better have heels on, or I'm going to come back and haunt somebody. Like, until I draw my last breath. Elaine, I hope you're listening. But until I draw my last breath, I am going to want to look good. I just know it. And when I'm 80, I am not going to want to be macroing and counting calories and busting out an app to do so. And when you go on vacation, do you want to have to drag your macros along with you for the ride? Sitting in the back seat like a backseat driver? Or do you want to be able to go on vacation? Like my girls can go on vacation. They're getting ready to go into the holidays and stuff. They're not counting any calories or doing anything. And y'all bitches better lose weight. Or I'm coming after you. But seriously, I teach them how to do something that gives them control around food, allows them to listen in versus listening to what's going on outside. Because here's the deal. Y'all got to learn how to listen to what's going on in your head. You got to figure out what you're saying to yourself, what your stomach is telling you, and then the world gets better. Most of us, our biggest problem is we're listening to other people's opinion, other people's macros, other people's apps. Everything's about what is the world telling me that I should be doing. Like, I'm going to just react. I'm getting up today. I'm going to react to my day. Everybody who says something, does something, asks me to do something, whatever, I'm in reaction mode. Nobody is teaching you guys how to be internally focused first. When you learn that, you love people better, you take care of others better, you take care of yourself better, your life feels better. That is what we all want. Like, don't tell me you want to lose weight because you want to weigh a certain number and you want to wear certain clothes and you want to look a certain way. That is the bullshit. When you lose weight, it's because you want to feel something. You want to feel in control. You want to feel sexy. You want to feel energetic. You want to feel healthy. You want to feel good. You want to feel proud. You want to know that when you say you're going to do something for yourself, you fucking have your back and you do it. That's why we lose weight. Don't let people just sell you on bullshit about why you want to lose weight. It's bigger than that. Losing weight is more than just that. And I just think it's sad that we all get caught up in this other shit, that everything outside of us is so much more important than what goes on inside. If I had that mindset, I could have never been the mother that I've been to my child for the last 10 years or 15 years now. It just couldn't. I had to really take care of my mind first. I had to clean up my shitty thoughts about failing him, or we can't connect, or, all these things that I would tell myself. I could have spun my wheels and just doing things for him all the time, but if I wanted to have a real relationship with him that was good for me and for him, to where I didn't end up just emotionally eating myself into a grave, I had to take care of my thoughts before I even could teach him how to take care of his thoughts. Here's Christine. Here's a groupie. She's down 12 pounds on the free course. Jill is diabetic and doing it in week 2, feeling better already. My doctor said my meds are what caused my belly fat. Any hope? I just turned 49. Leanne, we got plenty of people with hope that can give you all kinds of hope. It's not just the meds. I would want to, I can't really, I don't know enough about you on, on live, but I would want to look at what you're eating. Are you stress eating? Are you doing anything outside the norm? That would probably have to, you would want to really look at your food and stuff. Make sure you're getting your water and your sleep. Do the free course if you haven't, and let that clean some of that up and just see what happens. Medications do cause some stuff, but do that free course and just see if that gives you some clarity around what else might be going on. Thank you, everybody. All right. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't done the free course, do the free course. I've said it 1,000 times, pnp411.com. Go to my podcast. Guys, I've got podcasts on depression. Like a lot of the things that you guys are asking me and worry about, we have done so many podcasts on. You can go to Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. And if there's ever anything that you want to hear on the podcast, you want us to talk about, if you will email support@pnptribe.com, we're happy to put it on the board. This next month, the podcasts are going to be talking a lot about the holidays. We're doing a little holiday spiel, and then we're going to get into some other good stuff. So thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.